My name is Marian Schneck, and I'm the Vice President of the Friends of the 1803 House. We thought before we talked about the dig, we should give you a little bit of information about the 1803 house in Emmaus. Okay, go ahead. In 1681, William Penn, a Quaker, was granted land in America which was occupied by Indians. And we all know who William Penn is, right? Mm-hmm. 2 years later, he negotiated a treaty with those same Indians, for a religious sanctuary, a haven, and he called it Penn Woods. Many immigrants went to Penn Woods. A German of Lutheran faith, Jacob Earnhardt Sr., arrived in America in 1738 on the ship Gasclow. Jacob immediately purchased land in Salisbury. And the story of Emmaus begins right here. The next one. In 1742, Jacob and Sebastian Canals donated over 100 acres of land to a Moravian community in Bethlehem. 1 year later, a church was built. You can see the church there, and God's Acre. And God's Acre still is there. I don't know if they still have a fence or not, but I think it's that way. And then in 1747, they built a schoolhouse. Okay. Now, everything that I just said, we have a drawing there that you can kind of get a feel for. They laid out Emmaus kind of just like that. And the first thing that you see are the C's. The C is where the church and God's Acre was built. Can you see the C in purple? Okay. And then the next one is A, which is where the schoolhouse was built. It's kind of far away from the church. But in 1749, if you find B, they moved the church there. And then if you look at the two D's, that's where the 1803 house is still, and Jacob Sr.'s log cabin. Next. In 1761, they named the town Emmaus off of a biblical town called Emmaus. And everybody knows the story why there's only one M, right? Okay, good. Did you hear the story about the railroad? The railroad man who was painting the sign Emmaus Railroad, way down there, he said he didn't have enough room to put the two M's, so he put one M. But that's not true because the railroad came in afterwards. Okay. Now this is a picture of the 1803 house in 1847. And it's probably kind of what it looked like when it was built in 1803. Jacob Jr. built the 1803 house, and he's the son of Jacob Sr., so you can see the connection. He lived there with his wife, Susanna, and his 4 daughters. The house was owned by many families over the years. The Toole family, Trexlers, Getz, Jobst, Druckenmillers, Millers, Bob Rodale, and now the borough owns it. Now, that's what the dig looked like from an aerial view. What is archaeology? It is the study of human history and prehistory through the excavation of a site and analysis of artifacts and other physical remains. The Friends of the 1803 house are forever grateful to David Small, retired professor of archaeology of Lehigh University for 34 years, for agreeing to design an undergraduate course around our historic site. That's a good friend. He skillfully and playfully, at times, guided dozens of students over 5+ semesters and a motley crew of Emmaus friends during the summer when the students were on break to complete the dig. Just have to tell you, I worked there one day and that was enough. And Dave Small told me I was in the way, so
You weren't dirty enough.
Huh?
You weren't dirty enough.
No
Very
sweat
tedious
flying
work,
off
very tedious work. He is so knowledgeable of his field of work, and we learned so much about the digging process. And though we'd end a dig session with sweaty brows and dirty fingernails, we had plenty of laughs and couldn't wait to get back the next day. We tip our trowel to you. It is my honor to introduce Professor David Small.
Well, okay, thank you. Can people hear me? I, as the Italians say, apologize, okay, when I lecture. So I'm usually up on my feet. I have to warn you guys that I haven't been, lecturing in a church in a while. I was the president of the Unitarian Church, and I lectured there, and look what happened to their building. So you might want to take care. That's good. Thank you. Okay, can we have the next slide, please? Okay. Okay, a few details, about the actual excavation. It was led by Lehigh University. It actually rose from a class that I had run a couple times, and then actually Jill asked me if I would be interested in working at the 1803 house. And I had run some excavation classes before, and this was perfect, to actually fit this in. So it was led by Lehigh University. It ran from 2015 to 2021 each fall. The fall was the best time to do it. It gave us a chance to get the most time in. As you might imagine, winter and spring would be prohibitive. And it was staffed, basically by students from Lehigh University. These were students, usually juniors and seniors, who were, first of all, slightly interested, in archaeology, but then really got into it and liked coming to Emmaus and stuff like that. And it was a great time, for all of us. Here are the students themselves. If you take a look at this is a professor's dream, Here I am standing, commanding the students to do what I want, like ever, But it's almost as if this one photo was staged, or set up. But I did work with the students very closely. It was an honor working with them. And here you can see them actually scraping away some of the dirt, and me actually showing them, what I want them actually to do. Next one. And here's a happy crew here. We took a photo at the end, of each season. Here you can see one, of the groups. So this is about what the average group entailed. 10, 12, 13 students, a mixture of males, and females. This is Cammie. Remember Cammie? She's one of our favorite students back here. And for some reason, we attracted a lot of Lehigh men from the baseball team. So I got to know the baseball team very well, and used to go to their games, as well. So here we are, end of the season photo, out by the porch. Next one, please. And the project would not have been possible without the work of Pat Murkowski, an experienced excavator, who's actually had excavation experience, and consultant. She actually was very helpful with a lot of her comments. She was also very helpful in sort of directing, the students, in various phases, of the actual excavation itself. Okay, so you can see Pat there with a meter stick here, which we use to measure, okay, architectural features when we actually photograph them, okay, and me writing something, I don't know what it is, okay, in the book back here, okay. Next, please. Okay, and Jill, okay, our erstwhile, project photographer, and this is one of the few pictures I have of her because she was taking all the photos. So this is a selfie she took, okay, at her house a couple of years ago when you can see it was COVID season, and we met, okay, with masks and everything to work on analyzing the faunal material. That is the bone material actually from the site. So a lot of us worked, okay, in various phases, okay, of the project itself. The students did not participate in this because of COVID and because of the fact that I had retired, okay, by then. So it was all the grown-ups, okay, so to speak, okay, working on this. And our guru and chief shaman, okay, Dick Farmer, I think Dick is over here somewhere. As Pat reminded me, okay, we can call him a shaman because among archaeologists, shaman is a term of honor, okay? So, okay, he was, okay, an erstwhile, okay, supporter, okay, of the project there, okay, every time we were out, okay, with comments, okay, with instruction and with just basic leadership and assistance. So we're very, very grateful to Dick for this. Okay. Work before we came. Okay. We were not, okay, the only group to have actually worked, okay, at the 1803 house. There were a couple of other investigations, okay, of the estate, okay. Some in this area here, some over by, okay, the actual porch, and some actually in the house, okay, itself. Okay, the next slide. Okay. Okay, now I have been told, okay, of this, but I don't know.
I have
Okay.
pictures.
Okay.
Pictures of them.
Yeah, but I don't know what happened to the material. Okay, that's the problem. Okay, if you remove archaeological material from the soil and you don't record it and keep it, its information is gone. Okay, so we know that the Key Club of Emmaus dug in the basement. Okay, but we don't know what their aims were. Okay, or what they did with the actual material. We know that the Emmaus High School students dug around the porch. Can you back up a bit? One slide. Okay, here's the porch here. So they must have dug around the porch itself, okay, over by the kitchen. But again, I don't know what happened to the information. Okay, and a team from Muhlenberg dug around the homestead, okay, of the 1803 house. But Muhlenberg has yet to say anything about what they actually did, okay, or any of the information they came up with. In 2012, a group of middle school students in seven generations, okay, dug, okay, to the south, okay, of the kitchen itself. Can you back up? There you go. Yeah. There's the south, okay, of the kitchen, okay. And the nice thing about the Seven Generations group, can we move forward? Okay, is that the middle school teacher had actually had archaeological experience and training. So he actually kept notes, okay? He kept the actual material, so we actually had something to work with, okay? And even though these were middle school students, okay, they did a nice job. Okay, and we're really grateful to them. Okay, and then in 2015, Lehigh teams worked to the south of the kitchen and completed the work in 2021. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is what we were presented with. Can you back up one? Okay, this is the south,
yeah.
this is the south of the kitchen, okay, right here. Okay, forward one, please, there you go. And this is, okay, a close-up of it. And you can see, okay, what was left of the excavated openings, okay, that were dug by the middle school from 7 generations. Okay, they opened 4 areas, okay, very dangerous, okay. When we moved in, I stepped on this and almost broke my leg, okay. So it was a dangerous site, okay, to be in. But this is what we were left with: 4, okay, of these open areas. One here, one here. There was one over here, and another one up by the actual wall, okay, of the south wall of the kitchen itself, over in this area. Okay, next please. Okay. And this is what it looked like. When we took, okay, the actual tops off, okay, the actual excavations, and cleared away some of the dirt that had fallen in, we could see what 7 generations had actually, okay, exposed. Okay, what they exposed was, okay, actual walls down here, about 1.5 feet down, okay, into the soil, okay, itself, and lots of sort of accumulated ashes and debris, okay, on top, okay, of it, as you can see right there. So this is what they look like. A pretty good job, okay, nice squares, okay, nice clean cut, and I actually met the individual and congratulated him, okay, on his work with 7 gens. Okay, next please. Okay. So we come across this, okay? So every archaeological project has to have a goal, okay? What's the goal going to be? Okay, are we just going to like dig around and not think about what we were actually going to do? What were the questions, okay, that we were interested in, okay? And our goal was to excavate the area to see what these pieces of walls represented. Okay, a big question was a possible building and its relationship to the current 1803 house. Okay, a possible earlier building. Okay, what was it like? Okay, our questions were focused on, okay, what that building looked like, what was associated with it, and how it actually tied into the 1803 house itself. But we needed to understand the stratigraphy to understand the original presence and demise of the structure associated with the walls themselves. And this is what I mean about the actual stratigraphy. If you take a look at this, you can see some of the stones from the lower walls, okay, themselves. But if you look over here to the right, and you can see it here just a bit, okay, on this side, although it hasn't been cleaned, okay, but you see, okay, layers and layers of these ashy lenses, okay? Okay, you get these ashy lenses, and then you get solid packed dirt underneath, and then the actual walls, okay, themselves, okay? So when you look at it, to begin with, you've got 3 areas of interest. You can be interested in these ashy layers. You can be interested in the soil down here, or you can be interested in, okay, the actual lower area, okay, of the walls, okay, themselves, okay? So, okay, I had some students actually draw what they call profiles, okay, of the actual soil, okay, itself, a sectional drawing. Here you can see the ashy layers, okay, on top. Okay, here you can see some of the walls, okay, themselves down here. And here we can see some of the lower sort of packed earth down here, okay, with a possible sterile, okay, or non-occupied, okay, soil actually down here, okay? So I'm asking myself, okay, I've got 12 students, maybe 13, 14 students. Okay, we're going to go out, okay, just one semester, okay? We're going to come, okay, on one day, okay, during the week, and we're going to be there for 3 hours tops, okay? That is, okay, if I can, you know, pull them away from Rita's, okay, on the way going home. So you got to make choices, Okay? Okay? And if you take a look at the ashy layers on top, okay, it looked like this was some type of secondary structure that doesn't have anything to do with the earlier structures down here. Okay? That probably burned down, okay, and was partly actually destroyed. So you have to make a choice. Okay, so my choice was actually, okay, not to intensely investigate the ashy layers themselves. Okay, we collected all the artifacts. Okay, we identified the artifacts, identified their locations and stuff like that. But given, okay, the staff and given the time, okay, we decided to concentrate on the area below here. This is quite common. This is what is often done in rescue archaeology. Okay, in rescue archaeology, when a building's being built and you've got to go in very quickly, answer a few questions before that building is being built, you've got to identify, what layers, that you want to investigate. Okay, what questions pertain to those particular layers themselves. So that's what we did. We concentrated, on, the bottom levels here. Okay, next. Okay. In fact, photographs confirmed that there was a building there. Okay, this is from 1909, I think it was. This is from the 1940s, as you can see. This is Edgar, was it, and somebody else?
His wife. He eventually married her. Yeah.
Okay. They eventually got married, folks, okay? Second World War, but you can see the outbuildings here. And this appears to be what the ashy layer represents. These later, sort of like poorly constructed, outbuildings. You can see it here, you can see part of it here, and even down here you can see part of a privy, that appears to be from that phase itself. So we sort of went around that phase. So we were looking for anything that was earlier, than the 1803 house, where they might have lived before they moved into the 1803 house, itself, okay? So like I said, limited time and small number of excavators made me decide to focus on the matrix, that's a fancy word for soil, below the ashy layer to see if we can understand any early occupation of the site. While all artifacts from all layers will be collected, only those associated with layers close to the bottom of the wall would be analyzed. They were collected, we have them, in our database, but we didn't analyze them, They can be analyzed, in the future if another archaeologist comes along and wants to do it, but our question, pertain to, the bottom layers or the possible earlier buildings, on the site itself. Okay. So the excavation strategy. Going to remove the soil in artificial layers or strata until we reach the bottom of the walls. Area will be horizontally divided into a grid of 5 foot by 5 foot squares. The soil will be screened for all layers and all artifacts collected. Artifacts found in the lower layers will be analyzed in Lehigh's archaeology lab. So can we back up a couple of slides to the ashy layer? One more. Okay. So we excavated down, in artificial strata or layers here, and which were 5 inches deep and 5 foot by 5 foot. Took all the material out of that chunk. 5 inches deep, 5 foot by 5 foot, and called that a certain section. For analysis. It was layer 1, area 6, or layer 4, area 18, or something like that. So that's what we did. And it was the lower layers down here, the artificial levels we took out of here, these are other layers that we actually analyzed. Cool. cool? Okay. Okay, here's the gridding, okay, itself. You can see that we laid this out, okay, according to 5 foot by 5 foot levels. This was, okay, one of the openings of the 7 generations. Okay, we incorporated that into our 5 foot by 5 foot grid, okay, as you can see here. And the 5 foot by 5 foot grid, okay, was used to give, okay, a horizontal location, okay, to any type of artifacts, okay, that we found. So you can see how we actually laid it out, okay, this way, okay, with string and such to keep these different areas separated from one another. Okay, next please. Okay. And this is what it looked like. Here you can see some of the separating string here, but when you begin to excavate, okay, you go down, okay, we began to widen some of the openings that the 7 generation school had opened, and you can see that here, okay, we're hitting some of the lower strata here, taking them out in 5-inch by 5 foot by 5 foot sections. Again, using that to identify the provenience or the location of any material, okay, that we found. Okay, next please. Okay. And then, okay, you have to record, okay, what comes from these actual layers themselves. So we had recording sheets that were actually used, okay, on the dig itself. Here you can see, okay, one of the areas, I think it's too small to make out here. Okay, but this is East 5, South 1, okay, I think. Okay, and level 1, so it's this 5 foot by 5 foot. Okay, it's level 1, okay, which is down near the actual lower part, okay, of the opening itself. And the different teams themselves, they had to put their names, okay, on the recording sheets. And there was these 2 guys, sorry, that called themselves Team Incredible. So they wrote Team Incredible, okay, up here. And then when you take out, okay, the matrix, the soil to a certain level, then you measure the depth to make sure that you got 5 inches, okay, and so we would take depth measurements using a datum, okay, which we had established on the porch. A datum is an artificial point, okay, that we use to actually locate, okay, the different areas themselves. And this is the one thing the students hated most, okay, and that was, well, what the heck did you find, okay? And they had the list, okay, the different things they find. Okay, sherds, glass, nails. We found thousands of nails. It just drives you crazy, okay? And and then different types of material down here, okay, that were listed by this team. So we have a record of what's coming out, okay, of that one chunk, okay, that one locational chunk that we were interested in. Okay, next please. Then we screened, okay, any material that actually came from the excavation was put through a screen. A 1/4 inch, okay, screen, as you can see here, okay, often used by contractors. Okay, you put the soil in there. You get students who don't care about getting dirty to actually shake the screen, okay, itself. And what would be left were, you know, pieces of pottery, glass, nails, okay, and stuff like that. So we were collecting anything that wouldn't go through a 1/4 inch opening. So it means you're collecting quite a bit, okay? So we got a pretty good sense of what was actually in the soil, okay, itself. Okay, next please. Okay. And then we would take the material to Lehi's archaeology lab, okay, which is a bit of a misnomer, okay, and I look, okay, around when I say that because Lehi wouldn't give us a lab, okay, for a long time, and then they finally said, okay, you guys can have this basement, okay, so we took over a basement. And we turned that, okay, actually into our lab. But here you can see, okay, first aid kit here, of course, but they're actually cleaning the artifacts, okay? You clean the artifacts by washing them in water. Not all of them can be washed in water, organics can, but glass, of course, and ceramics can. So they have taken and cleaned them there. Okay, then they count them again. Okay, things that the students just love. Okay, so we make them count them again, and so we have an accurate count. Okay, of what was there, what was the different type of stuff we were finding actually in the ground. Next, please. Okay, and this is some of the types of things that we found. Okay, we found small bits in general of pottery. Okay, when you find pottery this small, okay, what type of process deposits it? If you find pottery this small, how does it get there? It's what? This small, it's broken up into several small pieces. It's garbage, okay? Okay, so we're coming across lots of garbage, okay? And so we're coming across garbage in these lower levels, which was a bit of a disappointment because we thought we'd come across pieces of bowls and stuff like that might give us an idea of the life patterns, okay, of these people themselves. But it appears that, okay, the soil had been mixed around and mixed around and mixed around. Okay, and it basically became a garbage dump. Okay, this is a garbage dump for, however, material from the late 18th to early 19th century. This is redware. Okay, with an interior glaze. Okay, it's a storage pot. Okay, that we have a bit from. It's just the actual rim. Here we have, okay, some actual tableware here. Okay, so we can see some of the fancier stuff, okay, that was actually being used. But again, it was a bit of a disappointment because we didn't come across, okay, actual large pieces of pottery that would have been, let's say, left behind. Okay, and this had been, as a fellow archaeologist would say, she would say it's been mucked up. Okay, it's really hard actually to figure out. Okay, next please. Okay, but okay, we have this stuff and it's all been recorded into a larger database. Okay, here we can see some of the different floral pattern porcelain. Okay, comes from area here. I can't read it. I think it's the east-west. Okay. Okay, over here from one of the squares, okay, and one of the levels here. So we have all this stuff actually put into a larger database, okay, in computers, okay, on Lehigh. So we can access it quickly, okay. Next, please. Okay, and then the bone. Okay, here you can see the bone experts. Okay, and I say that because none of us is a bone expert. Okay. And the problem is, okay, with COVID coming in, closing down the class, and with me actually retiring, okay, the chances of getting a fauna or a bone expert to come in and actually take a close look at the bones, okay, was minimal. But the bones themselves, okay, are pretty easily to identify. Okay, experts could identify more, perhaps certain types of illnesses and diseases associated with the bones, but we didn't have, okay, the experts to call in. So here are the experts, okay, actually working on the bone. You can see high-class kitchen scale here used to actually weigh the bone, okay, itself. Next, please. And here's what some of the bone is, okay. Okay, some rib bone here, okay, probably from, okay, a sheep, okay, vertebrae here, okay, probably from sheep also, as far as I can tell by looking up comparative material. So we get a sheep. Next, please. Okay? Yeah, so far only the ceramics and the bone have been analyzed. We have not had an opportunity to analyze metals and glass. If anyone here, okay, wants to come and analyze the metals and glass in the 1803 house, speak to us, okay? But as we shall see, the results so far are fairly consistent, okay? Even with just having bone, okay, and ceramics, okay, with with a good picture of the early occupation, okay, of the site. I don't think there are any, surprises, okay, in this actual material, okay, itself, okay. So that's what the artifacts themselves, okay, look like. Let's take a look at the actual architecture. We were able to get Lehigh to come in with a drone. You can see the drone here, okay, one of the later days, okay, of the excavation itself, and take some drone photographs, okay, of the actual site. Next, please. Okay, and here's what, okay, it looks like. We have cleaned this out, okay, as you can see here, and you can actually see, okay, the actual building itself. Here's the south wall of the kitchen. Here's the porch, okay, over here, as you can see here, okay. What we have is a structure that has an exterior wall that comes around like this, has an interior wall here, which mystifies us. We're not exactly sure, okay, what this was actually being used to support. And then over here we have a hearth, okay, in the actual corner, okay, of the structure, okay, itself. One thing that we also noticed was that on the south side of this wall, okay, they had piled rubble, okay, up almost, okay, to the top of the actual foundation wall itself. So there was a lot of rubble, okay, over here. Okay, it was almost impossible, okay, to identify an actual floor, okay. As an archaeologist, when you're digging, you can feel the floors themselves. They have a different feel. They're harder. Okay, we couldn't identify any floor here. It was all very, very, very soft. We could have been digging until we got to China. But over here, we did identify, okay, an occupational level, an occupational floor out here. Nice hard pan right outside, okay, the east side of the house, okay, itself. So this is what it looks like in a raw photo, okay. We also have a privy over here, okay. Next, please. And this is what it looks like through the miracle of computerized processing, okay. The computer can actually produce, okay, a drawing, okay, of that photo. So here we get the drawing, okay, itself. Okay, here's the privy. There's a privy over here. The privy was a huge disappointment, by the way, and that Pat, Jill, and I reserved 2 weeks in the summer to excavate the privy. Okay, do people know about the importance of privies? Okay, privies are fantastic because you can tell so much about the the lifestyle, okay, of the people in the house itself. They actually take soil samples, and we took soil samples from this privy itself to see if we could identify diet, okay, and stuff like that. So there was the three of us, the three musketeers here, okay, digging out the privy, going down, seeing nothing. We went down about 3 feet, and we found a bottle. Okay, you know what that bottle was? Okay, Windex, 1937. So the privy was a late, okay, feature, okay, on the site. It must have been filled in, okay, late also. So we have that. These different areas here, the numbers indicate the actual height, okay, of the wall itself. Here's the hearth. One thing that you will notice, okay, is that in the construction itself, it appears that this wall here, okay, was constructed to meet this wall, and they didn't do a very good job of it. Okay, there's a good 3-inch difference, okay, in the actual facing, okay, of this foundation wall, okay, itself. And if you also take a look, there were different people who were actually building, okay, this wall itself. The laying method of the stone is completely different, okay, than this. So we have this wall that was built in 2 sections. Okay, we can say that. We don't know exactly when or why, but we can say it was actually built, okay, in 2 sections. This wall over here was a bit rougher, okay, but it extends, okay, under the actual porch, okay, itself, okay. You can see the actual size. It's about 15 feet, okay, as you can see here. Okay, next please. Okay. Well, what the architecture tells us, well, okay, it was dry masonry, unlike the 1803 house itself, which was not dry masonry. Okay, it had mortar, okay, in between the stones, okay, themselves, built in 2 phases. Okay, that includes a hearth, as you can see over here. Here is the hearth, okay, in a close-up of one of those meter sticks. We were able to dig down around the wall, okay, of the hearth, okay, itself, and we do come across charcoal, okay, remnants, okay, in the actual spaces between the stones. So it appears to have been cleaned out, okay, but the shape is a hearth, and we actually have a material that identifies it as a hearth, okay, as well. Okay. Well, I'll say next, but where's I lost the button.
It's on.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is that the walls themselves, these walls, this wall, and this wall as well, okay, run under the 1803 house. Okay? These walls run under the 1803 house. Okay? They were not bonded into the walls of the 1803 house. Okay? Which means that the 1803 house postdates the actual construction of these walls themselves. Okay? So we can say that. Okay? We can't say, how much it postdates. Okay? It could have postdated it by 8 months. It could have postdated it by 40 years. Okay, but it's hard. It's hard to actually indicate when, because the ceramics are often used to identify different phases, but the ceramics that came from our excavation, okay, are not really located, okay, closely enough to an individual date to be able to say, well, this was 1797 as opposed to the 1806. They all come from about, okay, that one period. So the walls actually run under the 1803 house, which means that this was a building, okay, that predates the 1803 house. And I speculate that, okay, there's a lot more, okay, to this building under parts of the 1803 house that we'll never know about. Okay, so it's a building probably bigger than what we have exposed here, okay, with much of it actually under the house itself. And here you can see how, okay, it actually runs in, okay, to the walls of the 1803 house. These are walls that are actually held together with mortar, okay, and these are not, and they just appear to run right over. Okay, these walls themselves, as if they didn't bother to get rid of the walls. Okay, they just went right over them. Okay. There was no trace of dirt flooring, okay, inside the building itself. So we suspect that it probably had wooden floors, which is not uncommon for, okay, a house, okay, of the late 18th century. Okay, and there's no sign of a doorway in the foundation itself. So we suspect that a doorway would have been at a level above these foundation walls, okay, and you would have had a wooden flooring system that would have covered, okay, this area in here. Okay, next please. So it probably looked a bit like this, okay, when we have these houses with, we have foundation walls here, but the actual structure of the walls themselves, okay, is of wood. And if you go into these buildings, okay, the floors, okay, are of wood also. So this is probably, okay, the best concept for what the original building probably looked like. Something like this, okay, I wouldn't say it exactly matches it, but a building with wooden walls and wooden floors. Okay, next please. Okay. Now, many people have come by and they have said, well, what you have here is a bake oven. So I have been encouraged to address the bake oven question, okay, in this presentation, okay. Bake ovens themselves were ovens that were located outside, okay, kitchens, and they were used, okay, as ovens and to take the heat away from the kitchen itself, okay. Great examples of bake ovens come from Ephrata, to the west of here, from the late 18th century, as you can see here, okay? And you can see the bake oven itself, okay, is not really a building. It's a small extension, okay, to the actual house itself. And not only is it an extension, but it's an extension with just a hole, okay, in the wall, okay, right here, as you can see from this example, okay, from this house here with an exterior bake oven. And since we have a hearth, okay, and a large building here, it doesn't appear that this was actually built for an actual bake oven. Next, please. Okay. So overall, okay, the archaeological data signals a building built prior to the construction of the 1803 house. We appear to have at least identified that. Ceramic data indicates a date in the late 18th century. Bowls and plates indicate dining consistent with the customs of the era. Okay, we didn't find any real fancy stuff here, okay. Bones indicate domesticated cattle, pigs, and possible sheep. This is probably a small farming house, housing family living in late 18th century style, okay? That was taken over by the construction of the 1803 house, okay, itself. Next, please, okay? So one of the last things that you do, we actually finish the excavation, now we have to preserve it, okay? So you backfill. And when you backfill, okay, you put dirt back into the site, which you most often do to keep the walls themselves from absorbing too much moisture and the stones from cracking. Okay, you cover it with plastic. So we covered it with plastic, and we actually threw, okay, the actual soil that we took out back into the actual excavation itself. And here's, okay, the happy crew, okay, as you can see here, that helped refill, okay, the actual sites, okay, themselves. Okay, the future, okay? What we want to do, okay, is take and make this, okay, sort of friendly to people coming to the actual site itself. Okay, we have this area here. Okay, we have the plans and maps. We know where the individual walls were. So what we would like to do is take and put, okay, stones, okay, or pavers, okay, over here, okay, over, okay, where the original walls were, so that anyone who comes, okay, can see what the building actually looked like, okay. Possible exploration of total grounds of the 1803 house with ground penetrating radar. We do have instrumentation that penetrates the ground, and we can see structures under the ground, okay, itself. There are lots of comments, okay, about other privies and stuff like that on the site itself. It would be nice to take radar and go, okay, across this entire area here, okay, to see what the heck the whole place actually looked like. Okay, all of this is being put into a web page, okay, and we want to complete the web page as quickly as possible so that the material is available to all. Okay, free of charge. Okay, all you have to do is look up the web page. Okay, itself. So it's getting the information, getting the data out to people. Next, okay. Special thanks to the Lehigh students. Okay, especially the baseball team. Okay, Pat, Jill, and Dick, of course. Those who came by to help or offer ideas, and several people did come by. I didn't say that you were in the way. But people will come by and say, "Oh, you get dirty," and stuff like that, you know. So like, yeah, we do. Okay, and especially the Board of Trustees at the 1803 House, whose support has been tremendous. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming tonight. We always are telling a story about the 1803 house. We have a special friend at our meeting tonight. It is a person that is a former tenant of this house. She has provided firsthand information about the life at the 1803 house. Her name is Shirley Ruth Connor. Her parents are John Miller Jr. and Julia. Shirley Ruth Connor is their daughter. She is a collector of memories of her upbringing at the 1803 house. Jan McElraith wrote a book about the 1803 house, A Glimpse into Its Past. She interviewed Shirley around 1987 and recorded many memories of growing up at the 1803 house. Her family lived on the second floor as tenants. The owners lived on the first floor. They shared the front door. The Millers resided there from 1943 to 1955. And a structure approximately located where this dig was, she recalls as being there. It was used in the summertime because of cooking at the hearth in the summer was very hot. And so they built this other structure. We're trying to uncover the past and we appreciate this recounting of her experience at that house. And you can read about it in a book that we have.
It's right there. We have it on the table. Anybody can take one. See the books?
Yeah.
The light blue.
Yeah, the light blue.
So it's an exciting place in Emmaus because of all the learning we do and all the volunteers that help us out. So come and visit us.